Hey everybody, this is Papa Sean, and I'm going to show you how to get started here in Valheim. I've got a character already created, but I'm going to show you how to jump right into a new one, right? So the way it works is you can have multiple characters, you can swap between them, you can join friends, maybe you want to have your character advance alongside your buddies in their server, and that you can only join when it's up, right? So we're going to go ahead and create a new character, and we'll call this Baby Sean. Alright, so Baby Sean is here. He's not going to have a whole lot of hair. He's going to not really change his outlook. There's a whole lot of options that change the character flavor just at the current. Maybe that'll come out over time. So this is Baby Sean, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So one thing to note when you are joining or creating your server, so when you join a server, you'll see, just by clicking on the join game, you can see what buddies are in there. It'll tell you the name, and then what style they're playing in. So we've got Shruna and Korv, Ragnarok and Arduin, and you can see that there's a little key here for password protected. Number of players is 1 out of 10, so they're playing by themselves right now. I could go ahead and join this buddy, and I'd have to have the password to join this buddy. Alright, so with that, you can create a new start server, new. You can make it a community server where other people can join in, or you can just be on your own, where only buddies, friends, people that you grant the password to. And that's important because, as you saw, I was able to join a buddy just by clicking on that and connecting. I'd be able to pop into their server. If you don't enter a password, other people are going to be able to do the same. And don't worry, PvP is defaulted off. PvP is a toggle that you can, click on, but they might grab stuff out of your boxes if you're... Depends on how friendly your friends are, right? Okay, so Papa and Friends is my old world. I can click on creating a new world, start server, new, and by I'm going to go ahead and not put a password in for myself, but you see this is important, the seed. So the seed, it shows here, is a little uppercase, lowercase code, but if I wanted to have the same exact world, if I wanted everything to be in the same places, for those that are not familiar with seed games, that code that you see right here under Papa and Friends world, I could populate that right in, when I click on new, right into the seed here. Because this gives you the ability to have a randomized world based on what gets populated in there. You're going to have a different seed. So I'm not worried about the seed. The name's going to be test. And then we'll go ahead and test world. It's got to be a minimum of 5 characters. And we'll go ahead and start her up. So that'll get you started. So if you want to have the same world every time, maybe you want to learn from past experiences or know where certain things are in the previous map that you've done, that's one way to go about it. Alright, so it does take a moment to load, so give it that time. Up at the top left it might say not responding. Don't worry, it will respond. It just takes just a couple moments and then pops you right in there. There'll be a little cutscene where you're being carried from the underworld back to life by one of the Valkyries. And it will happen. Wait for it. Here we go. Alright, so we get a speech text here, and I'm attempting to bypass it so that we can get through this quicker. I'm doing mine in Windows mode. It's not very long, but it does take you through the flavor text. And I think that's the end of it. So it looks like you cannot bypass it with escape or clicking. So that would be one recommendation in this feedback I'd like to give, is the ability to bypass. Because it's great the first time, but after you've done it, yeah, see, I can't bypass the Valkyrie landing either. And that's possibly because it's taking you over actual terrain in the game as you're flying. So you can see that there's ocean below. Is that ocean or is that trees? It's hard to tell in the storm. It looks a little bit more like trees than ocean. Alright, we are coming in for a landing. So if you kind of want to see where some of the things are in relation to where you are going to be starting, I suppose you could take a peek down. Bird's got some red in its tips. Alright, and it's just going to drop us like that. We are wet and it is nighttime. And then you're going to have little quests or help indicators. So when you go up, you get started by talking to Hugin, and he's going to welcome you to the world. He's going to tell you about your surroundings and sacrificial stones, which these are, and you can utilize these to make sacrifices and bring about bosses. And this here is the register location. Magical stones were scattered throughout the lands of Odin as signposts pointing towards the ritual grounds of the Forsaken. If inspected closer, this one will reveal the summoning place of your first prey. He's a mighty beast, so you need to properly arm yourself so you can summon in the bosses at this location. So this gets you started, and there's not a whole lot that you see that's going on. You see in the bottom left, there's a little fork indicating you're hungry, and you've got a little Nordic symbol with 25 indicating how much health you have. At the top right, you've got a little radar, and then to the left of that, you see that you're wet for the next minute and 5 seconds. And then top left, you've got the torch as the number 1 key. So you push 1, and you can go ahead and equip the torch. You'll notice that you can walk up to the items, point your reticle, and it'll say pick up. So you can actually pick up a branch. Now, when you hover over, it'll say stone E pick up. So I couldn't even see the stone, but it's in the bush, it's in the grass a little bit. So anytime you click it, it's important to walk over that area. You'll auto suck up things like you would in games like Minecraft. So if you wanted to get some supplies, you just need to look at, now these aren't actual branches, they're just more like grass and things, small items. Don't want to get too close to boar early on. Boars will attack you. Alright, so trees, you can punch the trees and that'll build up your unarmed skill, things like that, but you're actually looking for something smaller, branches and rocks that are on the ground that you can actually pick up. And you see how it just kind of pops it into your inventory there. These little stones are a little bit too big. And that gets you started. By pushing the tab key, you can see your inventory. You can see that you currently have rag tunics equipped. Right? If you wanted to take those off, you could just right click it, and then you'd see Baby Sean in all his glory. Baby Sean without a shirt. We're going to right click and it equips the tunic again. Alright, so we see that we've got 3 wood, 2 stone now, and 1 torch. That is our inventory. But on the right hand side, as you pick up supplies, you will, just by holding, like picking up, finding the resources, you'll inherently begin to learn how to craft. So there's nothing you have to do as far as like learning the skill sets and things. It just happens. And so when you push that tab key is going to bring up your inventory. It's going to show you your slots. You can move things around and populate your working slots. You can craft additional items. So we can make a hammer right now. So we'll go ahead and craft that. And there we have it. We now have the hammer. By having the hammer, it just told us that now we know how to craft additional items. So if we hold the hammer in our hand by pushing the number 2 key, and then it says on the right hand side, place, remove, build menu. So if you right mouse click, you're going to get the build menu. And we can see that now we're able to make a campfire. Now we're able to craft cooking stations, workbenches. We can, once we get the workbench, it's going to unlock additional items. So it kind of slowly takes you through the steps. So very helpful in that regard. So right now we have the hammer, we can build, but we're lacking tools to gather additional resources. So we probably want to make the stone axe. It's probably the first thing you want to make, unless you want to get defense up, and that's your 6 wood for the club. But once you have the stone axe, you can start gathering a lot more wood a lot more quickly. Stone tends to be the hardest thing to come by early on. Not too hard, right? But you just have to click on the stones. You have to find the stones, and remember not to get too close to boar. There are other critters out there in the world, and there's also food. Let me equip the torch. That way we can actually pick up our berries. So that's important to note, is that if you pick up berries, raspberries, you can then eat them. See this guy? He will attack, but I'm holding the torch, and he's scared of fire, so he's going to leave me alone. Now you can go out there and take him out, little tree guy, but little tree guys are scared of fire. He's trying to sneak up on me. He wants to hit me from behind, maybe. No? Now if I put away the torch, don't be scared, little friend. He doesn't see me right now. So now he's going to attack me. He's swinging on me. But if I bust out that torch, he's done with me. He doesn't want any of it. So if torch is going to scare away some animals, it's going to scare away the baddies. And you see that our buddy out here has some more to tell us. Alright, so let's say, however, due to your recent departure from Midgard, you will have to recall the true shape of objects, just picking them up. So he's just telling us that as we pick up things, we will learn how to utilize them. So this little grayling's going to follow us around, but he's not going to mess with us because he respects the flame. You want to see what happens if we hit him? Get him with the flame. He's on fire! He's on fire! And that's why he respects the flame. So he's going to give us a piece of resin when we take him out, and that resin's going to give us the ability to make a new torch. Oh, let's see about the boar and the fire. Okay, boar is going to run away from the flame as well. So the torch is going to protect you early on. Just respect the torch, because they do. Alright, if we put it away, we can go ahead and pick up additional items. So here's mushrooms, some more wood. We're going to want that the stone for the stone X. And that'll get you started, because once you have the stone axe, you can go ahead and start making a lot more wood. You can make the workbench, get things going. You hear the bees buzzing. Something to note about the bees is that they will sting you. We'll use those later, but picking up a bunch of raspberries. So these raspberries give you one food source. If you have 3 food sources, you kind of get towards your max out on health. So we go ahead and eat one. You can see that that 25 number is going to start growing. And anytime you see something of interest, you can go ahead and pick it up, like these dandelions. You push E, make sure you walk over it. You got 2 stones right there. And so the lower the grass is, the easier it's going to be for you to see things. Or you maybe look down while you're walking to see if we can find some more stones. So that bird's following us around. He's got things he wants to tell us. He's talking about with the hammer you can raise fortifications and things. So the hammer is the tool that you're going to use to build quite a bit. So that'll give you your stone. Should be plenty of stones now to make the stone axe. We'll go ahead and craft that, and it'll auto-populate it into your slots. So it went default into 3. Now we can go whack in and get more wood. And see, anything you do is going to give you experience in that activity. So if I'm cutting wood, I'm going to get wood, and it's going to put it in little chunks that are just being picked up. At the top left, it tells you when you add some stuff. This is an AoE weapon. All weapons in your swing, like I can hit 2 trees at the same time. And something to note is that trees are bigger than you. Trees fall. When trees fall and they're bigger than you and they land on you, it's going to hurt. So you want to make sure you aren't underneath one of these trees when they come down. Alright? See, that one's coming in a different direction. And it's rolling. So you don't want to get rolled over, because that will hurt you too. See, with these trees and the trunks, you can chop. This is going to give you the wood. You're not getting it right now, not until you break it into little smaller pieces. We'll just do one of the logs here to show you. All that wood. And this guy wants some. Get the torch. So he actually took an axe hit from that. So they'll just run away from you as long as you got the torch out. Alright, so we got mess of wood. We've got the hammer. So if we go ahead and switch to the hammer, look at what we can build now that we've got some wood. We can make a crafting workstation. We can also make a cooking station. Cooking stations you're going to want to build over a fire, and you hang the meat. The workbench, it's going to require 10 wood, and you're going to place it anywhere. You'd think that you'd want to have a base first for it, but it'll actually allow you to place it anywhere you like. I strongly recommend getting started out. You can move it later, but stick it close to your stones, because when you push the M key on the map, you see the ritual stones as kind of an icon mapped out, whereas the workbench is not. And so that'll help you find your workbench, your little base, your starting area that getting started with the game on. From the workbench, it's going to tell you that you can't use it because you don't have a roof. So that's why it's important you've got that stone axe, right? Because you want to chop down a lot more trees, because now you know how to make wood beams and walls and things. And once you collect that wood, you'll just move back to your hammer, you'll right click, and then you'll click on the building options. Then you can build floors. You can place them out, but it's going to require that you got wood and a workbench to do so. And you got the walls, you can put walls up, so it just wants to have rotate with the middle mouse button. You can place your walls, just wants to have a little bit of a roof, and then it'll be happy with us. So we'll go ahead and give it a little bit of a roof. What's this? Is that 26 degrees or 45 degrees? So if we went with a 25, it's a little funky with the snap too, but let's go ahead and see if we have enough wood in our inventory to give it a little roof. Is that sufficient? Let's see if that's going to like us now. We're too exposed. So now we got to give it another wall. And we need a little bit more wood, so we'll do that real quick. So we got all this wood we chopped down, but it's not in the smallest of pieces, so we'll fashion some planks out of this log. And all I did was make a smaller log. You saw how it rolled? It actually took out some branches there, so you're able to pick up those wood. A rolling log will crush. See, I'm kind of like pushing on it. See, this is one way of chopping trees. You can use a log to do it. Alright, so we got a bunch of wood. We'll go ahead and bring out the hammer, bring out the wall. Got a couple more of those greylings walking in. So they will attack me as long as I've got the torch. I can just bust it out, and they're just going to leave me alone. Alright, so if I go up to the workbench, station is still too exposed, so you just want to go ahead and put walls around it, put roofs above it, and then it'll let us use it and build out a little bit further. So we got more walls here. Did I put away my... I did. I put away my torch. Get out of here. You don't want any of this. You're doing it to yourself. Alright. So, graylings. Graylings, I tell you. Graylings. Alright, so we've got a little bit more of that. Go ahead and pop some more roofs on here. Clunk. Kerplunk. And then maybe we need to give it some back walls. So this is just a basic hut made entirely for us to use for the workbench. Alright, put that away, we'll get close to it, and now we can use the workbench. See, it just needed to have some enclosure for the workbench to be happy. And now the workbench is going to have this little, what I find to be the most important aspect of the workbench, other than giving you additional tools, is your ability to repair an item. So you just left click on that, it will auto repair the items inside your inventory, and that way you don't have to keep making more and more wood axes, clubs, bows, etc., etc. So that is as far as I want to take it with this very early intro into how to use the game, get your workbench up and rolling, how to hit the ground running and start picking up supplies, being rocks and wood. I hope that's been helpful. If you've got additional questions or suggestions on what you'd like to see next, throw it in the comments. I will catch you guys next time, and enjoy Valheim.